Holler if you hear me, and welcome to Friday night in my corner of YouTube land, ladies and gentlemen. It is the top of the hour, 10 p.m. Eastern, and we are all doing something that's going to be a special piece for tonight, since this is a special little preview night before to what we'll be seeing tomorrow. I will be tomorrow at the floor of Astronomicon. Yes, that is Astronomicon. That will be taking place throughout the weekend, but I will be there one day only tomorrow. Yes, it takes place at the Burton Manor in Livonia, Michigan, 27777 Schoolcraft Road, right there in Livonia, Michigan. Yes, tomorrow. It starts it goes from 11 to 7 p.m. That's when the floor is going to be open for tomorrow. So that's where I'm going to be going. I actually thought they must have changed the hour because I remember seeing it was supposed to have been 10, or I simply misread, but one way or the other, that means yes, when those doors are open at 11, I'll be in there. And of course, you have my Instagram page where I'll also be doing updates in the story and maybe doing a little bit of live video, as well as, of course, for this very same channel, I'll be doing some video for that as well. I've got the GoPro ready, charged, ready to go, and of course, off my phone as well. So we'll be having multiple videos from multiple video sources coming in. I see that we've got Nick, of course, telling everyone out here to have fun on the stream and see everyone Monday. Have a good weekend. That's nice to see. But yes, there's plenty of things to go on and go around there. That'll be happening. And for all of that, we've got 3 different kinds of shirts, actually, I'm deciding to wear with what it is I'm going to be having with me at the show. And we've got Tatsunami. I know Abba, but what's ooh boo boo boo, says Tatsunami. Hello to Tatsunami there in the chat. Let's everybody give Tatsu a round of applause. Their first time in the chat, I believe, ever. So let's all make Tatsu feel at home. And in case Tatsu has not already, let's make sure that Tatsu has subscribed. So yes, and now if the camera's deciding to, this is one of those webcams that likes to autofocus, so it will zoom in and out by itself. I don't know why it just wants to do that now. It's doing its own little version of that zoom in, zoom out from the Kung Pao movie, Into the Fist. Yes. And with that, I actually decide for what to wear. I like to see you all as everybody comes in. We give a little bit of a fan vote out there in the chat. Which one of these 3 would you prefer to see me wear? Since on the floor at Astronomicon of the guests will include the late, great, Scott Hall was going to be one of the guests, but fortunately, because of his passing, he will not be there. But we will have Kevin Nash there, along with Sean Waltman, whether you know him as 123 Kid or 6 or probably X-Pac more often than not. I think that was the gimmick that he had the most time with. And also that's the one where now his name has become a pejorative to the point where X-Pac heat has become something in there. And yes, do not fear, we've got Ghost Bunny here. So now we've got Tatsunami coming in, a more recent viewer, and now we have Ghost Bunny, also a much more recent subscriber. So let's all, for the established fans and for the newer fans coming in, all to say hello. As well as Relentless coming in, and she wants everyone to lick her on Facebook. Well, that's okay. But of course, as you can see, we are doing a special April O'Neil illustration tonight, and that means, yes, April O'Neil of the original 80s cartoon version in the tight yellow jumpsuit. And I remember I think it was the original Ninja Turtles arcade game, the big beat 'em up with the 4 players, and they had on the box, they had a on the cabinet, the arcade cabinet, they had the live action April O'Neil. They had an actress playing her with a big camera on her shoulder and the microphone. That the Turtles themselves were cartoons. They still had them as cartoons. That was strange. And yes, for the last couple days, I was one shy of getting to 600, and then I saw 598. Fuck, well, that's YouTube being up to their old shit again. So, I mean, that's why when it comes to whether it's I'm not sure if Tatsunami is a new subscriber or just somebody who's just showed up to the stream to say hello, but either way, well, if Tatsu is not subscribed, then let's all make sure that they do. Or else the Ultimate Warrior will help with encouraging that. Or maybe even Andre the Giant. Or that's the Undertaker. Yes, it's more of the kind of biker kind of Undertaker, but remember, He's actually that's the one where he was the badass there, the American badass. Watch him kick, or when he would roll out to Rollin' on his motorcycle. Yes. But now, when it comes to the idea of what I'll be wearing, due to the prominent wrestlers that'll be there, along with Sean Waltman and Kevin Nash, there will also be the Legends, the Prides of Michigan, as their theme song called them for their brief time with the WWF, the Steiner brothers. Yes, Rick and Scott. So that means that, yes, at Astronomicon tomorrow, they say all men are created equal, but you look at me and you look at Scott Steiner, see that's not true. Because I'm a genetic freak and I'm not normal. Because usually when you go one-on-one with another wrestler, you got a 50% chance of winning. But you see, the three-way at Sacrifice, you got a 23 and a third at best at being me. And then you add Kurt Angle into the mix, and your chances of winning drastically go down. So now I got a 63 and 64% chance of winning. Now you take that 30 to 25%, and there produce percents. You see that, Joe? The numbers don't lie. And they spelled disaster at Sacrifice. And no, that's not what I meant. I'm saying which one of these three wrestling-related shirts you out there watching would choose between. Of course, for starters, we have the NWO. Yes, it's NWO. We all know them. We all know that initially to fear them, and then they became a little too overexposed, and then all WCW did was run them into the ground. Yep. Apparently, Ghost Bunny, I know you probably think I have a nice ass, but I'm not wearing chaps. Sorry. I do not work out on the dusty trail, and also I am not Jessica Alba in Sin City, so you will not be seeing me wearing those ever. Yes, option one is here's one. Option one is an NWO shirt for which shirt to wear to the show tomorrow. Option two is the one I wore one of the days at the last convention I appeared at, which was the Great Lakes Comic-Con, of course. Austin 316, because I don't have the Austin What shirt. Yes, Austin 316 TM. Austin 316 says, I just whipped your ass. Go buy yourself a cheap bottle of Thunderbird, and maybe you drink back some of that pride he had in his early days. And option three is D Generation X. No, Ghost Buddy. I told you I'm not wearing the assless chaps. I'll just leave that to your fantasies, since I know you can't resist me. I know that's why I've got so many ladies as well as many veterans now. I see now Alpha Channel, one of my more recent subscribers, also is somebody to whom was a served out there in the Marine Corps, served out in Somalia specifically, we learned last night. But yes, those are your options. Option one, shirt, D Generation X. Option two, Austin 316. And option three, NWO. And here's one. Ghost Bunny has aphantasia. She can't imagine shit. And yes, of course, people know I have the Eddie Murphy Beverly Hills Cop 2 jacket. Well, I was planning on wearing that anyway, but now which of those three shirts to go with it? The options of Austin 316, D Generation X, or NWO. Because what do you think Andre the Giant is going to be voting for? I said NWO. And The Undertaker? Say Austin 316. And what do you think the Ultimate Warrior is going to pick? As you have come upon the way, upon the strength, upon the power of the Ultimate Warrior, and you have approached me with such a proposition between which of these armaments to wear when running into the heat of battle, into the parched heat of combat. I believe that are the ones, the armors I will be girding my loins with to go into the heat of death and destruction and attempt to do what I can to come out the other end of this charge as a victor. I believe that the option should always be Austin 316. As you, Hulk Hogan, travel to WrestleMania by conventional means, kick the cockpit door down, kick the cockpit door in, take the two pilots that have already made the sacrifice. Shove that control into a nosedive, Hulk Hogan. And nope, my Speedo is gray, not pink. So you can definitely not count on ever wanting to see me in a Speedo, although now I'm pretty sure Ghost Bunny might be more interested in seeing me if I had a Pornhub page. She thinks of me more in a James Dean with two E's light than she does as an artist now. Now we know that. We know it's that I'm just a sexy bitch to her. All right, that's what if she describes me to her friends, she just looks at me and goes, "He's a sexy bitch." Her and her friends be walking around, driving around. Hey, hey, baby, come on! Walking behind me, going boom, ba, ba, boom, ba, ba. Okay. When they see me on the beach in my Speedo, they want to go and film me with the slow motion feature so they can do the male version of the Baywatch thing where I'm running in the Speedo and it's just bong, 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 wong, wong, just up and down and left and right, everywhere is is the schmeckle being very, very failing to be contained within the Speedo. Yes. So thus, my loins are everywhere for everyone to see, and it gives me the chance to really fulfill a very, very untapped potential market in the world of comic skate. Being, yeah, that one comic skater with the full head of hair who's not middle aged and morbidly obese. Yes, that kind where somebody who has anybody with more than a one pack ab. Yes, that kind of thing. And for the last time, Mildred, no. Well, everybody in the channel thinks highly of me, so of course I'm going to think highly of myself, sister. Now, I don't really intend to go out there and break all the little hearts of everybody that comes to see the Duke on one of his streams, but even though the Duke keeps his face away from the camera more often than not on the Duke's channel, the Duke just can't help but lead to the women out there on the channel just being overwhelmed by how much joy they get from basking in my light. Nope. I told you at 1,000 subscribers, that's me starting full-time work on my comic Tanya Lady of the Blade. You want to get chaps? We're gonna have to get up to Ethan Van Sciver size subscriber count and beyond. And trust me, since I don't gorge myself on pie and 7-hour live streams and all that stuff, I actually have the ability to go finish a campaign when I say I will. So at that kind of rate, I would certainly look a whole hell of a lot better than he would. And also, I told you the lack of streams where you'll be seeing me drinking myself into a stupor for the amusement of people who probably don't have my best interests at heart. They just want to see somebody go to a drunken stupor. It'd be. I'd rather do more constructive and less dangerous things like tightrope walk between the Twin Towers. Like that Frenchman did back in the 70s. And I know bringing up these the Twin World Trade Center can be depressing at all, but I specifically want to zoom in on when the early years of the towers, when I believe it wasn't even completely finished. There was, for whatever reason, this Frenchman and a bunch of his friends, when in the years it took to build the Twin Towers, he discovered that they were being built when he was out there working as like a street performer in Paris. He was in a dentist office and just saw it in a magazine and it just captivated him, and he got the idea to go and do a high wire walk between them and spent years doing all these other little things, learning how to tightrope walk, how to perfect it, doing other illegal, unsanctioned little high wire walks in other places around the world to build up to this moment where then he was able to continue to get himself into New York City, get himself into the World Trade Center, sneak all the rest of his friends in there into both of the towers, spend all the nights in the middle of the night setting up the wire, getting no sleep, and then like at 8:40 in the morning, there he was with the wire between, I think he made 8 passes back and forth, back and forth. And I think by the second time was when the cops showed up. And then eventually in the middle of there, a newscopter showed up. And I bet if they flew low enough, the wind gusting up because of the propellers probably would have been enough of a distraction to knock him off the wire, and it would have been going down, 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 down. Or that that I'm reminded of that whenever I see that the King Kong remake is on, the 70s King Kong remake where the ending is changed to the World Trade Center. And I just always get the mental image of when you see Kong climbing with Jessica Lange on his back. And then I think of that Frenchman on the wire, and he looks down, and there's a 20-foot gorilla climbing right towards him. He'd probably throw the pole he was holding for balance, the balance beam. He'd probably throw it down like a javelin at the ape and start running down the wire like Daredevil at the side of that thing. It's strange enough being a guy who sounds like French Bob Dylan, but then to have a giant gorilla coming at you, that's too much. That's too much for a guy who was already committing breaking and entering. I know that for sure. I know eventually, yeah, he did get arrested, but they did come up to the conclusion that they wound up letting him out in exchange for, okay, yeah, we know you weren't trying to cause any real crime, you weren't causing any real kind of danger. So I think it was the local court agreed to, okay, we'll let you go on all charges, but you got to go and do like a free show in Central Park, like a little high wire act, magic act, a little juggling, whatever, on a unicycle. And his main reward was that the people in charge of the towers, the Twin Towers, they gave him one of those observation deck passes that they used to give to the like 106th floor, like the very top floor. And due to, of course, being 106-story pair of buildings, if you went to the one where they had the observation deck, there was the exterior outdoor deck you could go to take pictures or video, whatever. But due to inclement weather, of course, there would be a lot of times where that upper deck would be cut off. So you would just have to be able to observe through the safety of the big glass windows. I'm pretty sure part of that is maybe that is the one place in all of Manhattan where you'll have any kind of like peace or quiet. As the closest thing to there being a peaceful place in the city is looking down at it from 106 stories up in the air. But in that area, you have to go and get a pass and pay for like whatever X amount of hours it was. And, because of what he did and all the positive publicity it gave to the city, they wound up crossing out the expiration time and just writing permanent. And I think that the guy kept the card, even though, of course, now he can't exactly use it. Although I remember hearing something where after 9/11, there was some news outlet that brought about, well, remember when that guy did that wire walk? Well, and then they brought him up and asked him about it and said that when the towers are rebuilt, I will go and do another walk. Well, they did the one tower, the Freedom Tower now, which, although it would be interesting to see like New York City hit fuck it and just go and completely rebuild the towers as they originally were. And there that guy would be like in his 80s or something. And he's like, I will do it. I will keep my word. I will go to the tower and I will walk. I will be on the wire. I do not care. I am the most badass man in all of France. As when it comes to the French, the easiest for me to remember example of like a Frenchman being tough or badass or laughing in the face of danger is a guy who did a tightrope walk because the buildings were really tall. Yes. Well, remember, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, it was Ghost Bunny and others who insisted on wanting me to have assless chaps. While I'm trying to go into something a little bit not exactly off topic because I don't really have topics set ahead of time, unless of course there's a moment where there's headlines involved. But even then, that's what my daily uploads, my regular videos are for, where I'll have a regular video where I really will put in my 2 cents on what a topic is going on at the time. Or like one thing that now, like the Johnny Depp trial that's been going on, and now new testimony of Depp saying about how people he's taken drugs with, I think also included Marilyn Manson, who's been buddies with for a long time. And I think they may have met because they may have become friends on account of how they both were celebrities who supported the West Memphis Three. That might be it. I know Depp and Manson at different times. I know both of them. I don't know if that's how they met or if they already knew each other beforehand. But yeah, that the celebrity side of supporting the West Memphis Three, that was something they both did. And But yeah, Depp and that actor Paul Bettany, who he also says on the stand that he was taking drugs with. Bettany, you don't know him by name. He's the guy who plays the Vision in the Marvel movies. He started out as just the voice in Iron Man's suit, and then in the second Avengers, they gave him a body, and that's where the Vision shows up. And I wonder what Bettany's wife thinks about this. Here is Johnny Depp under oath saying you got high together. If she didn't know about this already, now I wonder, because if you don't know already, yeah, his wife is Jennifer Connelly. In case you wondered why Sony cast her as the voice of the AI in Spider-Man's costume, because oh yeah, husband and wife, get it? Or at least that's the kind of thinking I bet was behind what they were doing in that casting choice. And now, like, what? You did what with Johnny Depp? Yeah. And really, you're surprised. I said before, I think it was last night's stream, about hearing him on the stand and just hearing him in interviews, whatever, or like he's at ceremonies or shows where he's talking. Unless he's like in character and you're talking about those TMZ clips where he would show up in character as Jack Sparrow at children's hospitals, or he'd be out in public, like on location in another Pirates movie, and there'd be something where he'd like show up in costume to like entertain kids, and he does the whole the Jack Sparrow. But if he's just as himself and he has that very like quiet but also very slow, where he always sounds like he's either tired or drunk, and he's a very very low energy individual. He's very very tired. But yeah, that's the ends. Well, the difference, yeah, Johnny Depp and his like wild boy kind of attitude he's had. I told you before about what he did when he was with Winona Ryder in the 90s, and then when he had an ill-fated tattoo, and then they broke up, and the way he changed it to say Winona to then changed it to Wino forever. I mean, come on. And also, with or without the notoriety he had with 21 Jump Street before his film career really took off, the fact why he worked so well in starring in Edward Scissorhands is, look at him and Tim Burton. Just think of Depp as a more pretty, or like more of a camera in front of the camera friendly equivalent to a Tim Burton type. And that's mainly the reason why they did that Dark Shadows movie, because yeah, they both grew up loving the original soap opera back in the day. And I mean, look at them and look at the kind of films that they work on together. And yeah, that is not really a difficult thing to explain. That, oh yeah, they're buddies on that. Or drunk off his, or you think though that he would be, if in court he would want to be sober, so maybe that's just how he is, or he's just always drunk. Like it reminds me of that thing that happened when he was still with Amber Heard, that involved not declaring their dogs when they were going to Australia, and because of the this like customs problem that led to this, and this legal issue they had with that, they were like made to do this video for the like tourism board about, and declaring about now making sure that everything, you have to declare everything before you come to Australia. And when they have Depp talking, he sounds completely like Johnny Depp is like the HAL 9000 or something. Like if you were going to cast him as Jarvis in the Iron Man movies, like that would be how he would read it. And yeah, you have Marilyn Manson, shock rocker, weirdo guy, Church of Satan. He was with Rose McGowan all those years when she still had a career before she got too old for that career, and then went completely nuts and is doing everything she can to scream for Me Too attention. And then after that, he goes and marries that burlesque lady at Vegas, at that Dita Von Teese, who was working with Playboy on the Playboy channel videos for a long time. But those two, I get it. But the third guy, Paul Bettany, Mr. British actor, oh, I'm so English, or he was like the son of some other acclaimed long-time working actor over in the UK, and here he was, oh, I'm this serious Englishman, and him, married to this serious actress, or who's now a serious actress after The Wrong Side of 30, and got an Oscar and all that stuff. And I remember they actually, like, that's how they met, was that he was, Bettany was Russell Crowe's imaginary college friend in A Beautiful Mind, and she was his love interest, and that's where she won her Oscar. That's how they met. And then they got married, and now the family they have and all that. And now I'm wondering, him, on the other hand, that guy, he doesn't have that kind of association or reputation. So if anything, either his publicist is pissed off about this, and of course the wife, unless she knew about it already. That's what I'm more interested now in that reaction. That's funny. I thought you were just going fishing with Johnny. Yes, we were just going bowling, and then he brought out the weed, and then that I didn't even see anything. I just was seeing colors. The color. It was like the colors, Duke. The colors. Sometimes. Oh yes. Also some LSD. It was LSD on some popsicles. They were good humor. Popsicles. Beho. From Good Humor. Yeah, you remember those weird acid trip late '90s popsicle commercials from Good Humor? They always end with popsicles. Wow, the one where the kid licks the one. It looks like Marge Simpson's hair with all the different colors, and he starts seeing everything, and he's running up on the ceiling, and everything's turning into 1,000 different colors. He's telling it to his dog, and the dog's like, "I'm colorblind, kid." And then instead of his hair turns into a giant stalk of that multicolored popsicle. And hello to Alpha Channel coming into the chat. Let's all say, everybody, welcome back in. We've now, I feel like I'm collecting veterans. Between Mildred and Alpha Channel now, I have multiple veterans that regularly are coming to the streams, and that's well, now I'm pretty sure that come Memorial Day and Veterans Day and 4th of July, now I'm obligated to go and do something truly military, patriotic related, a Sergeant Rock or a Captain America, something like that. I know, well, Captain America would be like for 4th of July, because Captain America, okay, but other ones, like specifically military related ones, Veterans Day, Memorial Day, maybe Sergeant Rock would probably be better for that. That could be the situation. Yes, I forgot to also mention, the reason why this is a special thing tonight is because tonight I've done it before, but that was a long time ago, where I'm now going to be streaming me doing a fully colored piece. My smaller color drawings I do, well, what happened was that I ran out of the 11x17 Strathmore smooth Bristol board stock, and there was a giant mishap where I wasn't able to drive to the regular Michaels I go to, so okay, I went through Instacart to get it. But then what happened was that we're waiting for it. Okay, it came by quickly, but then the Instacart delivery lady showed up, and they not only, I even put on the order no substitutes, but they came back with a pair of the 11x14 vellum surface Strathmore 300 Bristol board. When I even said I didn't want substitutes, it was the wrong kind, wrong size. And then it took the delivery lady 3 different tries to go and try to get the refund issued. And yeah, after 3 tries, finally it came through, and they said, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go and return it back to the Michaels, and you'll get your refund." But the thing is that the store they went to is the store I regularly go to. So even if I was able to just go and get it right up there and not go through Instacart, the supplies I needed would have been empty. So that's that would have been one way or the other a big disappointment. But a big disappointment like that versus something where now you're waiting for this to get through. That's more of the rigmarole and the okay, yeah, that's it's bad for their business. I mean, that's why I've touched on it a little bit in my video earlier today, where I talked about, yes, that today I had my first experience with international shipping. And yes, hoping that Tarks9, whether or not he shows up in the stream tonight, still thanking him for now being the first, let's say, the first foreign customer I have, which means, yes, now I have an international circuit for my artwork that I know for sure. For all I know, when it comes to conventions I've gone to where I've sold my artwork, I probably have had customers out there who may be out in Canada, and they just simply come across the border to get into the store, to get to that show. I'm making a guess right there, educated guess, but one way or the other, now we know for sure I've got a global following of, and also that means now the detail of what it costs to come through shipping just through Canada. That does mean now, with the experience of what I have, that the flat international shipping rate is going to have to be 25 instead of a flat 20. It'll be a flat 25 now. Like the stuff I ship through my store and American shipping, the flat $5 fee is the good, solid general rule of it usually comes in or around that rate. So that's the general place to stick. Well, now that was my first time experience with shipping internationally. Now I know, so now I know what to set. And when it comes to, yes, customer satisfaction guaranteed, that's why I went there. And one of the things I do, customer either buying the artwork through the store or if you're getting a commission. And remember, the way that you have the way for my international fans out there to go and buy my artwork is to do what Tarks was the first example of tallying up the prices of the items he wanted, and then adding on that flat shipping fee, and making that out as a donation to pay for the Bucky O'Hare and the Earthworm Jim he ordered, along with the shipping fee. And now that's up, and that's out to him, and now it is making its way across pretty much across the river. It's in London, Ontario, and I'm in Detroit, so I could probably walk, or maybe like a quick little drive if I had the enhanced kind of a state ID or driver's license you get in Detroit, where you can go and clean across the border if you want to. And now that probably would have been better. I could have just gone. It probably would have been a faster process of just driving there and just like leaving it on his doorstep and then driving back, as opposed to the international shipping of any kind. That's why I'm almost curious of now wanting to see either having a fan, I get somebody to get my art who's out of either Alaska or Hawaii to test the process of going through the customs of any country, Canada or Mexico or Bosnia or China, Japan, Korea, England, whatever, wherever, and compare that to the process of going to a Hawaii or an Alaska, because well, it's going through a state, so just to make the comparison. But now that I know, okay, here is what it takes between the customer and myself, and what I have to do in order to get that prompt delivery and to get that satisfaction guaranteed, and to know that I am out there doing what it is that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, paid for. And yes, even those in Kazakhstan, if there is a Kazaki out there who wants my work, if of course, if someone from Kazakhstan wants to commission me to do Borat, because I know that's the one you're all waiting for me to say. It's him. There he is. If it's just him, it's him in a suit, or him in that G-string bikini, him in the naked hotel room fight, or it's him making out with his sister. Or maybe even the bit where he's trying to put Pam Anderson in the burlap bag. Yeah. And well, yeah, each custom, like the shipping experiences I've had with stuff through Australia, like the very first Phantom comic I got, which was the Frew Publishing out of Australia, Frew Publishing's reprint of the original Phantom comic strip storyline that they printed in the regular monthly Phantom comic to tie in with the character's 60th anniversary and the release of the movie that year. That was, I think, like the actual comic itself was up there on eBay for like 3 and change, but the custom, the shipping rate was 18 and change. And that's why I told people, if the best price for like back issues that would have the original Phantom comic strips as it started in the 30s would be the Frew Comics reprints of those original storylines, but the shipping is 7 to 8 times what like a copy would cost. And so, this is Natalia. She is my sister. Or maybe better yet, it could be one that would be a Borat parody of Quicksilver making out the Scarlet Witch. Because you remember the cameo by Evan Peters, the X-Men movies version of Quicksilver in WandaVision, instead of the Kick-Ass guy playing Quicksilver in Avengers: Age of Ultron. That is the show don't tell kind of Marvel conceding that yes, the X-Men Quicksilver was better than theirs. And I'm reminded of that because if you remember, they tried to give, at least the Kick-Ass guy's Quicksilver tried to be foreign. He tried to have an accent. I don't think Elizabeth Olsen ever has, but in there, what he comes off as, between his look and the voice, he sounds like Borat with eyeliner. And he's going for yes, no, my name is Quicksilver. This is Wanda, and then he goes and makes out with her really lustily and goes, "She is my sister. She's number 4 mutant in all of the Savage Land. Nice." It's nice. Yes, sir. I think that was the John Oliver joke about the future. I think it's like the future Winter Olympics coming up. I think the next one, or someone in the time in the future, is going to be the in Kazakhstan. And Oliver made the joke of, "Oh God, now that just means that everybody in NBC's coverage is now going to be doing nothing but Borat impressions the whole time." It's nice. It's nice. Yes, we get it. Everything is nice. It is nice. Dead puppies are nice. The mud hut homes are nice. That neighborhood they show him living in, which wasn't even in Kazakhstan. I believe it was in I can't remember what country it was, but I know for sure it was in Kazakhstan. The village in the movie, and they show the place where like the nicest homes in the neighborhood look like a one bedroom apartment in the south side of Chicago. It specifically reminds me of when I saw this basketball documentary called Hoop Dreams. It was this documentary all about these two kids in the south side of Chicago who and their whole the trajectory of their basketball careers in high school with their aspirations to get into the NBA. And the poorer of the two kids is like his mom is a nurse and the father just abandons the family in the middle of there being a documentary crew observing their every move, and the dad walks out on them. What a jackass. And they show the other, yeah, that kid, the poor kid, Arthur Agee was his last name, yeah, or Aggie or Agee. I can't remember how the last name is pronounced. They show him with his mother and I think his little brother. They show their rooms, they show their place. Like that looks like it reminded me when Borat's place reminded me of this South Side of Chicago apartment. Yes. Or in Israel, I don't know. Or I remember someone reading to me that the seeing somewhere that one of the scenes in Borat where he wants to go to a gun store and he tries to go and what is the best gun to get at you with? And the gun that the guy at the store hands Borat to demonstrate is a kind of gun that's actually manufactured in Israel. So according to, I think it was the IMDb trivia section, that like the specific make and model is a Israeli manufactured firearm. It kind of, I think from the look of it, I remember right, is a Desert Eagle, but I don't think a Desert Eagle is Israeli. But I don't know exactly. I'm not an encyclopedic knowledge on firearms, so I wouldn't guess. It just, from what I remember in the movie, it looks like those kind of solid gold pistols that Nicolas Cage was carrying in Face Off, and I know for sure those were Desert Eagles. And according to Alpha Channel, who being a veteran would probably know more about firearms than me, yes, the Kahir Desert Eagle, it is an Israeli gun. Well, then, if my memory of what it looked like in Borat corroborates with what I remember Nicolas Cage's pistols and its solid gold pistols in Face Off looked like, then yes, that the guy brandished the Desert Eagle, which is an Israeli manufactured firearm. I feel like the Dirty Harold. Yes, oh, it's nice. It's nice. And oh, yes, it's you put your obese, morbidly obese testicles in my face. It's nice. Yes, it's nice. It's nice. There's the the naked hotel room fight where I think there's some kind of business conference going on, and it looks like one of those like business sales training seminars, like what Jordan Belfort, the real life Wolf of Wall Street guy, has been doing since he was out of jail. And that guy that Red Letter Media made fun of, the sales trainer guy Don Beveridge, that clips where he's like rapid fire talking about an analogy about Superman, and then he's talking about bagels. We got bagels. Oh, their cleanliness, promptness, and friendliness. You will own the damn market. That guy, yeah, that's that guy Don Beveridge. Imagine if it's. I think that Don Beveridge guy still does those sales training seminars, and imagine if that was him doing one of those, and then it's the Borat and the fat dude fight. The guy who I remember was so obese, it looks like he has two bellies. He has one gut on top of another gut. Like if you wanted to cast someone to play the Blob from the X-Men comics and just have it be just an overweight actor instead of a special effect, like that's the kind of body you would want. Yeah. And the yes, and also that's a case of the. I know about Jewish comedians and self-deprecating humor, but the running that takes the first Borat took the self-hating Jew comedy tropes to a whole new extreme. That is how Freudian. It's like how Freudian. It's like I don't know if you remember Jumanji and the whole. And no, not the title. I mean, one of the things people don't remember about the Jumanji in the 90s was how somehow this 90s like family big special effects film got away with doing the dark, messed up kind of 80s like kids movie. And darkly Freudian things like how the villain in the film is the same actor who plays Robin Williams' father. Like that's something you notice, and the movie doesn't really call attention to. It's like they respect the audience to be able to spot that and think, oh, oh, I get it. And of course, and they also pepper it in with another scene that involves a gun store where the hunter, the villain, needs he can't get new rounds for his old rifle, so he just goes and drops a bunch of gold coins on a guy's gun store cashier desk to go and get himself a new one. And the postal worker joke he makes. And remember that in the 90s where it made headline news about these a lot of Vietnam vets getting jobs in the postal union, postal workers, postal union, whatever, and then they'd get fired for whatever reason, and they'd go and gun down everybody. That was I can't really think of any real examples off the top of my head of like guys doing that, of postal workers gunning down people in the post office. But I do remember endless supplies of like stand-up comedians and films and TV shows making jokes about going postal. I was the big stand-up special that made Dennis Leary's career, No Cure for Cancer. He talked about that about a guy in the post office gets fired, goes crazy, comes back and shoots everybody in the place. If I was there, I was the manager, I would never want to fire anybody. I'd be too scared. Hey Jim, what are you doing? I'm drinking on the job. Well, keep up the good work. Or the third Naked Gun movie, they do an opening that spoofs the big gunfight in at the train station in The Untouchables, and it's just these mafiosos. They're funny, but then it's the president. And there's a terrorist running after him with a bomb strapped to his chest. There's the Pope, and there's somebody trying to gun him down too. And then, look, it's disgruntled postal workers. And there's like 6 dudes in the mailman get up, and they get outfits, and they all have AK-47s. Yes. And apparently, well, Alpha says the first guy to go postal was a USMC vet and MMA guy. They trolled him for years. Well, if it was a case of one big incident and that led to those jokes, well, that's where I know the people referencing it, like the pop culture parody or references of it, then I remember anything directly on like the news. Like, of course, OJ with OJ and all that. Yeah, you know all what was the source behind, the Saturday Night Live and sitcoms and the news, like talking about it, and talk show hosts bringing in the punchline on their show. That I understand. Those, you know what came from there, or people talking, making whatever cracks about Princess Diana after what happened there. I mean, that was what I saw first thing in the morning when it was made headline news about the car accident that killed Princess Diana. Coming home, guys, coming down there, the TV's on, and what's it? Oh yeah, the horribly mangled car where Princess Diana was in. And yeah, there we go. Oh my God, it was so tragic for a woman who was, married her way into the lap of luxury, traveled all over the world, and also had an eating disorder. I think was had like depression issues, and of course the part where she was pregnant with one of her sons and threw herself down a flight of stairs. I'm pretty sure it's the son who wound up looking like English Peyton Manning. Yeah, that one who, as like a teenager in his 20s, was like relatively good looking for a royal, and then for as soon as he got past like 25, it's almost like his teeth were getting bigger and bigger, and his hair was completely disappearing. It was almost like it reminds me of the effects of what happens to steroids to athletes, where their balls shrink and their head grows. It's like with a British royal, the older they get, their teeth, they lose their hair and their teeth grow. And so you see them showing up with teeth that would be too big for the mouth of Shaquille O'Neal and looking like Yul Brenner. Duck and cover. It's Mr. Clean with the largest landowner in the world, I believe, or I think the Forer family was. Yes, they look Nosferatu with a British accent. So the Alpha Channel brought up Nosferatu. Yes, that's what they look like. I'm pretty sure, maybe considering that England is a country where I'm pretty sure the sun comes out maybe 3 days in August, it makes sense that you would have the royal family would be vampires. And they love England because of the complete lack of consistent sunshine. It's a time where they can go move around in the daytime and it won't hurt them. You ever wonder why the benchmark vampire novel Dracula, written by a Brit, and why the majority of the story revolves around going through involves London, the Victorian London of that time? Just saying. Or even the one famous novel from the 80s, An Old Dracula, it was called, where it's about Count Dracula marrying into the royal family and his plan to try to go and turn the royals all into the bloodsuckers. Think about that. I'll just leave that to you, but I'll that will be something I will go and look up later to see about the postal workers and what was really the whole going postal thing to see for myself. Like I just brought up off the top of my head the thing about what happened about the Frenchman who high wire walked between the Twin Towers. Because yeah, I knew about that. The documentary that won the best documentary Oscar, I think like 2007. There was the movie they did a couple years ago with the Joseph Gordon-Levitt in his goofy attempt at the French accent. Then again, that's not quite straight fair because the real guy, even for a Frenchman, does have a very silly sounding voice. He sounds like if Bob Dylan, ate snails. If you listen to the real Philippe Petit from either the documentary or he did a TED talk about his whole career, like I mean, his whole life and career, not just the thing about his wire walk or his. He also does a little bit of his juggling act on a unicycle. I'm pretty sure he's the only guy who's done a TED talk like that. That's certainly a lot more interesting than having J.J. Abrams come up there and go on and on about his mystery box without ever trying to explain about how being so dependent upon this notion of a mystery box leads to, as soon as the mystery is done, your films completely lose their relevancy or their interest after the secret is revealed. It's I'm or thinking about when it comes to Vietnam vets who are postal workers with problems that going on in their head. I told you about Jacob's Ladder, I think earlier in the week, and I mentioned there about you want an example of how that movie and what it does, where it pretty much was the progenitor of the "you were dead this whole time" kind of surprise ending that the Sixth Sense popularized, but Jacob's Ladder really did first. And then you have either, even if it's not that specific kind of trope twist ending like the others did or the Sixth Sense did, then you have the whole mystery box like way that J.J. Abrams sells himself and sells his movies. Yeah, that you have the mystery, but is there anything interesting to the movie beyond that mystery? And once it's revealed, is the audience going to stay interested? And yeah, anybody remember Super 8? All the marketing behind that film and how it was this some kind of mysterious thing with these little kids and what do they find in this crate on this train, and then it's done and I'm pretty sure not even JJ Abrams himself remembers that film. Yeah, it's but there we go with that. And also, the idea that would have been interesting if the Kongfrontation ride at Universal Orlando, that part of the deal was when you would go through the you would go through the rack, you would go through the lines to go and get your ticket to go into the Confrontation ride. They would set up the way to get through it, to get up to the platform to wait for your seat on the ride was like a 70s New York subway. They had all kinds of graffiti. They had like movie posters from the year 1976, like All the President's Men and Rocky to really make it period accurate. And they also had a bunch of TVs showing like local news footage of Kong's attack along the city, and they incorporated footage from the 76 remake where he gets Jessica Lange, he gets the girl, he doesn't punch his hand through a big window. He gets her by following where she's going into a L train subway and just attacks the train and pulls her out of it. I would love it if they also included some like little detail referencing the Twin Towers and the deal with the Frenchman doing the wire walk. Although then after 2001, I'm pretty sure they would have wound up removing that out of respect for the dead. That's why, I mean, even though it was the movie The Walk about the Frenchman and his act, his wire walk, still, yes, it's something where being reminded of the Twin Towers is gonna, still, if not like get people angry, it's still just going to be something that they don't really want to think about. I mean, that's another thing that really when it comes to the whole reputation of the 76 Kong remake, of whether or not people have really seen it, but they're like, oh, I'm not sure about that one. Oh yeah, there was a remake of that in the 70s. When they hear about, oh yeah, the original classic one from the 30s, and then there's the big one that Peter Jackson did, because the Lord of the Rings director. But then they don't just see, oh, it's not just this, but also they set it in the time when it was set, and also they changed the ending to, oh yeah, there. And how the whole film, that was like one of the most famous, most ubiquitous movie posters of its time, was the 70s King Kong poster, where it's done of Kong fighting zeppelins atop the Twin Towers, and he's so big that he's actually standing between. He's like balancing himself on both the towers, even though then when you get to the film, and he gets to the top, but he's just standing atop one of the towers as he's fighting the helicopters with machine guns, and then he goes and he like leaps between one and the other. And that's something I will say. The ending there, I would say, is more sad than the ending to the original, because they don't just have Jessica Lange just being there to scream and get carried around and captured. They try to go and build more of a relationship between them, so that makes it more interesting, and also them, having her really becoming attached to him, and it making it more sad when he dies, and not holding back on the gore. I mean, they really make that bloody as fuck. But this was a PG movie back in the 1976, and they do not let up on when he's getting shot. It's not like the 30s version where he gets shot and he just kind of like writhes around when the bullets hit him. There, we see blood upon blood upon blood, to the point where we see him, it's almost like his body completely turns red, and when he eventually just dies, he just like falls flat. And that's the one where, yeah, we see him, he just completely falls flat on the ground of the observation deck. That's the one where, okay, with the Empire State Building, he gets shot, he falls because the way that tower, the top is shaped. All right, there's nowhere to like land, so he just falls and hits the ground. But there, they have him landing on the flat surface of the top of the tower. But oh wait, yeah, he's gunned down. Now he's got to fall. So then it's just like through, like, up by osmosis. Suddenly he just falls to the ground, and like somehow, like the wind pushed him down, and then he falls and crashes. And there's all the people there at the deck, and all those extras seeing the Kong corpse there, where they just went and had, I think it was just a practical effect, where they went and just had this giant King Kong prop body laying there in the outside the entrance of the Twin Towers. And I remember reading, I think it was on IMDb's trivia section for the film, how the like the people in charge of the World Trade Center, since they really shot those scenes there, for the most part, they were worried about having all those extras on that ground area, because they were concerned that having all those people there plus this exceedingly heavy prop, it might lead to the foundation of the building collapsing under the weight of so many extras. Or another film from the 70s that's a remake, but one that's still that has a lot more popularity than that one, is The Wiz. I know how The Wiz, that version of Oz, they make it like an exaggerated, kind of drugged out look of New York. And the Emerald City, instead of it being a city, is just getting across the Brooklyn Bridge to New York. And the Emerald City is specifically the World Trade Center, which they shot on location. And yes, the big moment of they get to the Emerald City, when you have that big number 4 showing, now this is really where we're going to meet the wizard, and it's the World Trade Center. That's another one where, yeah, that's another film where outside forces, like any film before 2001 that shows it, it's a sad thing to see. That's The Wiz, of course, yeah, the insert obvious R. Kelly pun here from Christopher. But yeah, for its day in the 70s, I actually like the King Kong remake. I think of both the King Kong remakes, they're both flawed, but still flawed but well made. And the major difference, though, being that the 70s King Kong was a big time producer, the perpetual trying to cash in on what's the big success at the time, Dino De Laurentiis. The major success of Jaws and other disaster movies of the 70s, he thought, okay, what am I going to do? And he went and got the remake rights to King Kong, and it was in production. The big film that was before that was Jaws. And when he would do interviews, the big thing that people made fun of him was, oh, my movie bigger and better than Jaws, because when the shark dies, nobody everybody cheers, but when Monkey dies, everybody cries. That was the big joke. I think even on Saturday Night Live, John Belushi impersonated Dino De Laurentiis and did that in different. Oh yes, the monkey dies, everybody cries. And also in the 70s version, we do get a lot of nice lingering shots of Jessica Lange in her film debut and a lot of tight, skimpy outfits. There's even some PG nudity we see her showering through a translucent shower curtain, so we get to at least see the outline of her body as she's in the shower. And also there's another bit where she gets some clothes and cuts them up to make a nice little crop top and some little Daisy Duke kind of shorts, so she looks like a sexy version of Kirk Douglas in 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Like the sexy Halloween costume version of Douglas's outfit in that film. Oh, he wore the red, white striped sailor shirt and the jeans. Or either that or how Kevin Nash looked in his scene in the Thomas Jane Punisher movie, if you remember that. Yeah, something else, other things Kevin Nash is known for with a guest at Astronomicon tomorrow, besides being a wrestler. He also some bits of acting. He was the Russian in the 2004 Punisher, and also he was Super Shredder in the second Ninja Turtles, where he shows up there, you see him for a few seconds, but it's under a dock, and also the lighting's very dark, so you can't really quite see him that well, and the whole damn dock just collapses on him and kills him. Like, it kills the Super Shredder, who's all roided up and crazy, but of course the turtles, because, yeah, they can swim. In spite of what the original Turtles game on Nintendo showed you, yes, the turtles can swim. They don't die in the water. That's the major difference there. And now we go on to the with the timing I thought I would have. I thought I'd be able to cover this, but let's see as much of this as we can do. Of course, one of the things when it comes to doing any kind of coloring work, if you're doing pen and ink with color work on this using Copic markers to color, remember, whatever pencil lines you have, always make sure that they're erased. Because the alcohol-based ink in a Copic marker, what it does is if you do that and you don't erase the pencil lines, the Copic ink actually winds up sealing that pencil line in place permanently, so it's visible under the coloring you're doing. Remember that. And if for those who don't know already, that is a little detail to you to know and to care. Because also, as we see there, well, I've actually been told before about whether or not I should do a coloring book, and I'm thinking, well, maybe that would be something to do maybe for the future, or maybe something as one of those additions, one of those stretch goals to an Indiegogo campaign for a comic, where I would go out there and say, okay, if I reach, $50,000 stretch goal, then what I'll do is I'll go and there'll be a coloring book attached to that comic. And also, well, between those three shirts we have, I also want to show you a little bit of what I'm only going to be having. I'll be there working the floor of Astronomicon tomorrow, and here's just a little preview of the work I'll be bringing with me to show off to ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. Of course, my La Muerta, and a little bit of, yes, all because of this kind of convention caters more to the crowd of wrestling and heavy metal and horror rap and death metal and gangster rap and all of that and movie monsters. That's why the theme of the portfolio will be more towards the Brian Pulido work, from Chastity to Lady Death to La Muerta to the Puppet Master characters, of course, to even, Pinhead here and there. My Captain Spaulding stuff. Of course, Eddie from Iron Maiden, the Iron Maiden mascot. And also some wrestling. We've got my three Faces of Foley, Mankind, Cactus Jack, Dude Love are coming with me and color in pen and ink, along with The Undertaker, and as well as Razor Ramon in honor of the passing of Scott Hall. And I also have some other bits of pen and ink and color I will be bringing with me that will be put in the portfolio shortly, like my Darkman and my Clown and my classic 90s Pennywise, as well as Six Shooter from the original Puppet Master series. Yes. And now Ghost Bunny wants to see me do a self-portrait in assless chaps. Well, now that it's getting to that time of the hour, I want to thank everyone for watching. And remember, besides subscribing and liking and sharing to help out the channel, another way, the best way you can help out is to follow the link pinned to the top of the chat or to the description below. And now we've got Anthony Peroni there, one of my subs appearing in the chat or at this time of the hour, where for you pen and ink illustrations are 25 bucks plus shipping. My color drawings are 20 bucks plus shipping. You can commission me for an original pen and ink illustration. They are 50 bucks plus shipping. Commissions are 20 shipping. You can also commission trading cards. Trading card commissions are 20 bucks plus shipping, and those commissions are available as the last items in my illustrations categories, my color drawings categories, and the trading card commissions are found as the last item in my coffee sleeve super babes categories. Besides that, there's also sketchbooks, handmade and pre-made sketchbooks filled with my original art. They are 25 bucks as well plus shipping. Or for my fans out there who just want to go and support my work, the first thing in the store is a donations button. And there's an interesting way around how whatever you get in the store only comes with a flat $5 shipping fee, one or multiple items, but my store can only conventionally ship through the US. So for my foreign fans out there, you would first have to go and tally up the prices of the items you want, and then add an additional $25 for the flat international shipping and handling fee, and make that out as a donation. Then you will get what it is you want, whether it's a commission of any of those varieties I explained, or if it's drawings and sketchbooks or illustrations. Anything you get comes with next day shipping, as Tark saw with what was shipped out today up to his place in Ontario. And also any commissions you have in mind outside those parameters I told you, first you'd have to go and email me at lukekorolowicz@gmail.com, which is one word in lowercase, and then I will quote you a price, and you would pay for that commission by simply making that quoted price out as a donation with an additional 5 or 25, depending on domestic or foreign shipping. And now tomorrow, there will be a video uploaded, but it will be a video uploaded at, I would say, 10 p.m. Eastern. It'll be the first video from the floor of Astronomicon, since tomorrow, day 2 of Astronomicon in Livonia, Michigan, goes from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. So remember, felines, hope to see you there. Slam it, lick it, suck it, and see you, Space Cowboy.